Hey everybody, welcome back to the LuckyDog podcast. This is your host, Elias Rouse. This podcast is sponsored by EliasRouseMedia.com, photo, video, digital media production. Today we are discussing Avatar Season 2, Episode 1. What the hell is that even called? Hold on. Sorry, this was horrible podcasting, isn't it? I thought I was going to have this one already pulled up. Just give me 2 seconds. Alright, let's just pretend I already did that. And Season 2, Episode 1, The Avatar State. Aang and friends arrive in the Earth Kingdom to begin his earthbending training, but a local general convinces Aang that all he needs to do is learn to control his avatar state. Azula, Zuko's sister, arrives to escort her brother and uncle back to the Fire Nation. So this episode basically takes place almost immediately right after the first season. What a banger of a season. Go back on the previous podcast to kind of get a nice little roundup if you don't recall what happened in Avatar Season 1 in the first 20 episodes. But this is the journey on Season 2. Starting from now, we are going to discuss Avatar, the epic scope of the world, kind of in a little bit more detail. Definitely past Season 1, nothing past episode Season 2, Episode 1. So we are going to discuss this episode. They continue the epic story of the Avatar. He sees himself in the Avatar state in each element. The Earth Nation refers to the last season's battle, kind of like the massive Fire Nation battle, Fire Nation versus the Avatar versus the Water Nation battle, and how sensational it was. They want his power to defeat the Fire Lord, which I believe is Zuko's father. They want to enable the Avatar state. He guilts Aang with the image of the hurt soldiers. Now this is the Earth General at this new Earth Kingdom compound. I'm trying to find his name. General Fong, I believe, is who it is. It's actually by Daniel Dae Kim. Many people might recognize this actor actually from Lost. He played what's his face in Lost? Oh my goodness, Jin Son Kwan or Jin So. Sorry. So yeah, the general had a very memorable voice. One thing that I did notice was, the actor that plays Jin Son Kwan, the Earth General in this, actually is, I believe he's South Korean, but don't quote me on that. I don't have his. He's a South Korean actor. The image they drew for the Earth Kingdom people all seemed to be very Caucasian, and so I kind of would have liked to them, delve a little bit more into what that actor looked like. I'm sure that it was, the character was already drawn before the actor was put, but kind of give some Asian representation, I guess, and among all of the aesthetic that is really going on. Now, if y'all see something different, let me know. Just throw it in the comments. Be like, Elias, what the hell are you talking about? You already know. But anyways, the Earth General wants to have the Avatar's powers to defeat Zuko's father, the Fire Lord. And he's showing Aang all of these hurt soldiers that have come back from Fire Lord battles and stuff like that. And he's like, Aang, this is on your ass. You could destroy that. You could end this shit right now. And so he's really guilt-tripping Aang at this point. Next scene is Zuko's sister is kind of preparing, she's Azula, I believe is her name. She has firebending abilities, but I believe also some sort of electricity that is coming from her fingertips and stuff like that, and doing some craziness. And wakes up the uncle from many yards away or something like that. I don't know. She's practicing on a boat, and Uncle wakes up on a damn wherever the hell he is on the island of wherever they are. The thing is, it either not much time has progressed in between the two seasons, or they just decide not to age the characters at all, which is something I do notice in the majority of animations, not just American cartoons, but also Japanese animes. You got the other cartoons across the board. They obviously think about the symptoms. The Simpsons. They don't have to age either. I mean, they can basically live as long as the voice allows them to, the person that voices them to, and even then they can carry on with a new voice if people allow them, don't care about the voiceover changes. What I'm saying is, sometimes I like a little bit of progression with how the characters look and animation. I like seeing leftover bruises and scratches and bits of the pieces of animation that carry on from each episode, which is why I like animations like shows like BoJack Horseman was very good about having continuous run-on jokes with, if someone stubbed their toe in something, they would have a boot in the next episode. They're not just dropping the entire joke. They're going to continue with it. Same thing with like F is for Family. Netflix is pretty good with those. Anyways, let's hop back to Avatar. Everyone's like, what the fuck are we even talking about? The comedy, let me see. So yeah, they didn't age too much. The comedy is a bit too heavy on the slapstick for this montage. Now, this is the montage of Earth Earth Kingdom trying to get the Avatar state to come out of Aang, and so the problem with that was nothing was working, so they have to resort to the worst thing. But they start off with more lighthearted stuff, giving him some crazy exuberant coffee, and then throwing some mud on him, and then doing some other crazy stuff. It's supposed to be kind of slapstick. Let me see. Azula tries to trick Uncle and Zuko to bring them back. Katara, on next scene, Katara doesn't like Aang trying to induce the Avatar state. And there's a couple subtle hints. First of all, anything Katara says seems to be kind of like the voice of truth for a lot of what's going on during this show. It's not just this episode, but the majority of the first season, if you listen to Katara, the majority of the things would be okay, except for maybe putting too much faith in the fortune teller lady, if that was one. I think she would be wrong about that. Let me see what else. I wanted to find out more about the waterbending nation's father. They kind of dropped that a little bit, in my opinion. Anyways, we are going back to the Fire Nation. Uncle is smart. Uncle is always thinking about 3 steps ahead, and Uncle still remains one of my favorite characters on this show, just because he's kind of an accentuated character that has these little proclivities about him that make him much more interesting as a quote unquote seasoned person, or it makes it feel like much more of a lived-in character. Like he's collecting shells because he has small hobbies. You remember in the first season, he's taking jacuzzi baths and whatever else. He's always kind of like trying to take it easy. I think we always see him trying to enjoy the finer things in this world. And he's seen some crazy stuff, and so he is pretty smart and trying to warn Zuko about possible treachery, or the fact that Zuko's sister Azula might be lying, and Zuko calls him lazy and shallow, and basically tries to paint this image that he's jealous of his father, which he hasn't really shown that he is, but there does beg the question that with his brother having all that power, did he want any? Why? I don't know if we got a full explanation in the first season of exactly why he decided to stay with his nephew, but it seemed that he does really care for him. Aang says in his dreams, Aang has a dream of his avatar state, kind of basically telling him that it's a bad idea to bring on the avatar, and pretty much instantly Sokka agrees. Earth Nation attack. Aang almost gets killed by these guys. I'm not saying that there's like a time where he's like almost immediately and like down for the count, but I mean Earth Nation just instantly starts attacking this guy, holds Sokka back. I mean they instantly turn into the bad guys, all because they wanted to just make him turn him into the avatar state, turn him in, have the avatar state come out of him, I guess. And once we get some awesome choreography with these like rounded wheel looking things with like a square little pin in the middle, like it's hard to describe from podcasting, but basically they're swirling what these look like, these massive stone buttons around with like a square hole in the middle instead of like four little holes in there, and they're like swirling them around the avatar, Aang, and he's like jumping around, and he doesn't turn into the avatar immediately, but he's like jumping, doing this crazy choreography. Love watching all of the cool stuff. Once again, I remember in the first season I said Earth Nation was one of the elements that I really enjoyed watching, and seeing the animations and drawings of all of the different visual dynamics of the fighting and whatnot. I mean, this is word for word what I'm talking about on this episode. It's banger. It's cool. So there's some awesome choreography, especially going with Aang having to go in and out of the wheels and shuffle in between them. Go to the next scene, and we have Uncle and Zuko getting ready to aboard the ship, Zula's ship, and Uncle doesn't trust sheet. I mean, we see a quick flash of him getting ready to join Zuko right before this the Aang starts that battle, and Uncle is just like eyeballing that ship. He's like, I don't trust you at all. I don't know you, and I don't like you. And Uncle is still eyeballing the buck out of all these soldiers that are kind of accompanying them onto the ship, and the head guy that is accompanying Zuko and Uncle onto the ship is like, all right, we're gonna transport the prisoners. I mean, oh, I meant the family. No. And it turns out he wasn't supposed to say prisoners out loud, and that tips off Uncle and Zuko to say, oh, that's it. We're being transported back as prisoners and not as family. Dad doesn't really want me. This is a freaking coup. This is a plot or something. This is something bad. We got Fire Nation blast. And so they blast out of there, blasting all these Fire Nation guys. And so it turns into this really cool plot right there with all these this action happening with Uncle, hitting him with the boot, skid a boot, and hit with the fire to the face, and the flame on, flame off. It was pretty dope. Great editing regardless. Flash over to Aang. They turn Katara into a damsel in distress. Unfortunately, she does have these kind of cool moves that are trying to attack the Earth Nation, but nothing she can do really gets any leverage on the Earth Nation, and so they use Katara as bait to bring upon Aang's avatar state. And so the way they do that as Earth Nation is bringing Katara's feet into the ground and twisting her closer and closer to the ground. And it's like a quicksand, and she's just kind of like screaming for Aang at this point. And it's intense. I mean, if this was live action, I'd be like, oh my Lanta. I'm still like, oh my Lanta. Even if it's not live action, it still got me on pins and needles. But I was just like, this is crazy. And so she's getting pulled into the ground like quicksand style, and she's completely under, sucked into the ground. You can't see any more of her. And Aang is just like, turns completely. His eyes turn white. The blue arrow turns white. His entire body relatively starts glowing around the tattoos around, or whatever is considered the avatar tattoos, start glowing. It's crazy. He brings on the avatar state. He like swirls into the air, and then it cross edits into I think it's Zuko doing like a double punch, taking out like a punching one, I don't know, like soldier, and then like kicking another one and hopping onto the boat. And it is a really cool edit. I mean, this is why this show is looking pretty dope as a show right now. Hops onto the boat, says that's it. Azula and Zuka have a sick ass fight, like ding a ding ding a ding a ding ding, and not exactly like that, but they have a sick battle. And if Uncle didn't come through and redirect like this little like I don't know, lightning flash that Azula had headed straight for Zuko, Uncle redirects it at like, I don't know, like some sort of rock shore, and blows it half into smithereens and stuff like that. I mean, like, they've got some serious power. I mean, he kicks Azula off of the ship, so that's the only way that they escape. And so, yes, damn, hold on, let me make sure I'm still recording. Yes. Yeah, there's so much in there. I need to make sure I have that. So yeah, Uncle, sister, Zuko have a pretty sick battle. Earth guy needs to chill. He is bitching and yelling with whipping his little fanny all across this fucking earth floor. I mean, let me tell y'all, this guy was not ready for the Avatar. He just was not ready. And he was the one that was he was trying to put him in this type of stress to do it in the first place. But it's ridiculous. Anyways, after he, teaches the Earth Nation what's what, he goes to learn the Avatar rules. And I think it's Master Avatar Roku, I believe his name. Yeah, he shows up, and James Garrett is the voice of Avatar Roku. And let me tell you, it sounds pretty cool. I mean, the montage is really dope. They show like different avatars from different states, from different, I don't know, cultures. It look like they have like an earth one, an ice one, a water one, not not like the different elements, but it looked like they were from like different tribes and stuff like that. But they basically say you're most powerful, but also most vulnerable. If you die, then you bucked up. The glow is the energy of the last avatars, and awesome montage showing the other avatars. And I love the imagery and the artwork of the different avatars kind of lining up in a row and then kind of disappearing really quick. I mean, you have to pause it to really see all the different avatars real quickly. Sokka brings everyone back when he bonks the Earth guy on the head, and then they basically bounce. They said that's it. And then we flash over to Uncle and Zuko, who have chopped their hair off, which I believe means they have been removed from the family. I might have to do some research on that or check the description on that to be sure on that. Thank you for listening, watching LuckyDog Podcast. Whatever you're doing to support it, support the podcast, thank you. Can't do it without you. All social medias, check the description below at LuckyDog Podcast. Thank you. Take it easy. Also, paypal.me/the LuckyDog Podcast for all donations. That would really be generous. If you can't donate, thumbs up, subscribe for this podcast early. Get the full podcast on Soundcloud. Thank you. Take it easy. Look forward for more Avatar Season 2 reviews.